The Brevard County Sheriff's Office is responsible for keeping Florida's Space Coast safe, and one of the ways they are achieving that mission is enthusiastically working with federal law enforcement agencies to arrest illegal immigrants within their jurisdiction. Blaze Media was embedded with the Sheriff's Office as they worked with the United States Border Patrol to take illegal immigrants off the road and eventually out of the country.
That was Blaze Media's national correspondent, Julio Rosas, who has been embedded with the Brevard County Sheriff's Office during their Border Patrol operation. So Julio joins us now to discuss all of this. So what did you see with your time when you were out there with the Sheriff's Department?
This operation is actually under Operation Stone Garden. It's been in place for a couple of years. And the reason why that this was important was because this is just part of the ongoing efforts from the state and local level to help the Trump administration, which, of course, Governor DeSantis has made it clear that he thinks that in order for the Trump administration to really fulfill its campaign promises of mass deportations, states have to utilize every resource that they can put towards actually helping federal law enforcement, because the federal agencies, as vast as they are, they do have limitations. They do have capacity and funding limitations like any other agency. And so this was one of the operations that Brevard County has done recently in conjunction with Border Patrol to help them reach that goal.
Just for the audience, can you explain, Julio, what Operation Stone Garden is when you reference that?
Yeah, so that's from the federal government, and it allows the state, local law enforcement to do these kind of joint task force missions. And basically how it works is, and how it worked in Brevard County, was the sheriff's deputies would be the ones to make a traffic stop. And it could be for any sort of violation where expired tags. In many of the cases, what actually ended up screwing these guys over that got arrested was not having a license plate properly affixed to a trailer that was bringing along a something for landscaping, right? And so in the course of their interaction with these deputies, do you have a driver's license? No. Do you speak any English? No. In a couple cases, one guy handed over, he only had his Mexican voter ID card because Mexico does have voter ID nationwide over there. And then in another stop, one of the landscaping workers, he provided his immigration warrant for deportation. So that actually made things a lot easier to determine, okay, this guy should not be in the country currently. And so that's when Border Patrol then comes, verifies their status, and they have a number of ways to do that. And then once it is determined, yes, they're not here legally for a number of reasons, or they might have a criminal history already that the federal government is aware of, they then get taken into custody, put in a van, and then at the end of the day, they brought that van over to Orlando, to the processing site over there, so that they can kind of complete that process over to get them out of the country.
So I feel like we all have comments on the border crisis and immigration and everything that's going on, right? So I feel like some of the sheriffs might have something to say about this as well. When you look at the difference between the Biden administration and the Trump administration, I know this is at the state level, so it is a little different, but have they said anything about how they've seen a lot of these changes since Trump has taken office?
Absolutely. So the deputy that I was riding with, he told me that they would run into illegal immigrants committing traffic violations all the time. But of course, since it's not under Operation Stone Garden, this is just in their normal course of their duties, they can only refer them to an agency like ICE or Border Patrol if there's agents available to come in. Obviously, they're not going to be able to be there every single time they're doing just a regular traffic stop, which is why Operation Stone Garden, for example, is utilized so that they work together at the same time. He told me that ever since Trump got into office, and ever since the new immigration bill that DeSantis pushed through the state house recently and that signed into law, he said that his words were they have completely scattered. Obviously, they're still around, but they're not encountering them every single time in the numbers that they were prior to, like, for example, during the Biden years. And I want to emphasize that Operation Stone Garden is a little bit different than the 287G program, which has been mandated for all Florida law enforcement agencies to now be part of that. That's part of that new state immigration bill. And so I was told that the Brevard County Sheriff's Office will be fully integrated, will be fully credentialed through that program soon. So eventually they will be doing these types of operations completely on their own, because the 287G program allows local law enforcement agencies to have those federal immigration arresting powers, for example.
Now, when you look at Florida and what DeSantis is doing, which is as usual, right, pointing the way forward and groundbreaking and good stuff, when it comes particularly to the local sheriffs, sort of playing along, is that going well overall in Florida? I mean, do you have a lot of local law enforcement stepping up? Is that an example for the rest of the country? And I imagine that even in Florida, there's probably some of them that don't want to deal with this. So is this working or not?
Yes. I mean, it's still in its early stages, because even like a county, the sheriff is all for like that 287G program. That takes time, right? You're dealing with the federal government. It is going to take a little bit of time to be part of that. But yeah, I mean, obviously there are the more blue counties, such as Broward, Orange. But that's why DeSantis was very clear that with this new law, it's not a matter of, okay, you can't just be, you just cannot be a sanctuary city, or, like obviously that doesn't exist here in the state. But you have to do more than just simply allowing ICE agents access to the county jail, because that's often the fallback for any other, blue city or sanctuary city. If they do, if they do allow them, they just say, well, we're not going to interfere. So if you do want to come pick people up, you can do that. We're not going to get in your way. Now, of course, there are places that straight up say, no, you cannot come into our county jail to pick up people safely. And that's obviously a whole other issue. But so overall, with here in Florida, yes, this has been met with this had a good reception so far. Now, of course, it remains to be seen with kind of those more blue-leaning districts just how much effort they're going to put towards that 287G program, right? Places like Brevard County, that's obviously not going to be an issue. Even a place like Miami-Dade, that's a Republican stronghold now. They have a new sheriff that was endorsed by President Trump. She ran on helping the governor and helping the Trump administration with this. So even if there might be some lackluster performance in some of the other counties, they're few and far in between, and the vast majority of the county sheriffs in the state, I can say, are pretty enthusiastic to not only work with Border Patrol and ICE, but actually go out with using their own resources. Obviously, not the entire department, but using some resources to be proactive to apprehend illegal immigrants or illegal immigrants with actual criminal histories.
So we all know that Florida leads the way. We've heard it over and over and over again. Peterson just mentioned it. But what can we do to get other red states to follow along, Julio? You can't be the only one having fun down there in Florida.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, this does seem like this is a layup, right? I mean, this is an issue that Trump ran on. He won on. It is broadly popular. It does have an over 50% approval rating. I saw a CBS poll from yesterday saying that it had like a 58% approval rating of deporting not just illegal immigrants with criminal histories, but the question just said illegal immigrants, which is kind of how they kind of use those word games. But it's all a matter of just highlighting the success that Florida is having down here, and really it's up to people that live in more other red states like Texas, Tennessee, saying, hey, this is what they're doing, this is how they're doing it, this is the success that they're having. Why can't we have that kind of same cooperation and really initiative that they have? And obviously, it takes time to be brought up to this new program, and like I said, it takes a little bit to actually get certified so that you can do it. And there is that learning curve. And again, we're 3 months, barely 3 months into the Trump administration. So I think once people see just how useful it is, and once kind of that feedback comes in with this new program that really enables local law enforcement to not have to always rely on the federal government, I think more people are definitely going to be, willing to raise their voice to say, hey, we should have that here too.
Yeah, Texas, it's a big red state, but we're still trying to get things figured out down there in Austin. We're trying to get rid of Sharia law here in the state. We got a lot going on, Julio. So eventually, I would like then to also just go through and push through all of these immigration laws as well. But you know what? We can't all be Florida.